Breaking news for every driver watching right now, because if you plan to get behind the wheel in January 2026, what you don't know could end up costing you thousands of dollars. Across the United States, 5 major driving law changes are rolling out, some already active in certain states and others expanding rapidly nationwide as the new year begins. These are not minor adjustments or technical updates that only affect a few people. These changes will impact everyday drivers, whether you commute to work, take weekend road trips, run errands around town, or only drive occasionally. Ignoring them won't make them go away, and getting caught off guard could mean expensive fines, higher insurance premiums, license points, or even serious legal trouble. Staying informed right now could save you a lot of money, stress, and regret later. Welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first time here, this is where we focus on real-world laws, policy changes, and regulations that directly affect your daily life and your wallet. There's no hype and no wasted time here, just clear explanations, so you know exactly what's changing and what you need to do about it. Today we're breaking down 5 major driving law changes arriving in January 2026 that every American driver needs to understand. These aren't optional, they're not suggestions, they're enforceable laws, and many of them come with penalties far more severe than most drivers expect. Before we get into it, if you want to stay ahead of changes like these and avoid costly surprises, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Laws change fast, and being informed is your best protection. The first and biggest change involves hands-free cell phone laws, and this is where many drivers are going to get caught. A lot of people assume distracted driving laws already exist everywhere, and while that's partially true, January 2026 marks a major expansion and tightening of these rules across the country. More than a dozen additional states are either introducing hands-free laws for the first time or dramatically strengthening existing ones. The penalties are increasing sharply, and enforcement is becoming far more aggressive. In states where the fines used to be relatively small, often $50 or $100 for a first offense, those numbers are jumping fast. First-time violations in several states are now climbing into the $200 to $500 range, and second offenses can reach $1,000 or more, often with points added to your license. In states like California, New York, and Washington, repeat distracted driving violations can now trigger mandatory driver education courses, steep fines, and in some cases even temporary license suspension. And what many drivers don't realize is that insurance companies are watching closely. A distracted driving citation can raise your insurance premiums by 15 to 30%, depending on your provider and driving history. Over the course of a year, that can quietly drain an extra $500 to $1,000 from your bank account long after the ticket itself is paid. What counts as distracted driving is also broader than most people think. Holding your phone in your hand while driving is illegal in most of these states, even if you're stopped at a red light. Texting, scrolling social media, checking notifications, manually adjusting GPS, or holding the phone to your ear are all violations. The only exceptions usually involve hands-free systems, such as Bluetooth calling or voice-controlled navigation using a mounted device. Picture this scenario. You're stopped at a red light, your phone buzzes, and you quickly pick it up to glance at a message. An officer sees you. That's a ticket. It doesn't matter that the car wasn't moving or that it only took a second. Under these laws, that moment is enough. The smartest move is prevention. Use a phone mount, rely on voice commands, and set everything up before you start driving. If you truly need to use your phone, pull over safely and put the vehicle in park. No text or notification is worth the fine, the insurance hike, or the risk of causing an accident. The second major change involves automated enforcement, and this one is expanding fast. Speed cameras and red light cameras are being installed in hundreds of new locations nationwide, and January 2026 marks a major escalation. Cities and states are not only adding more cameras, they're also lowering enforcement thresholds and increasing fines. In states like Illinois, Maryland, Arizona, Florida, and Washington, D.C., drivers will see a dramatic increase in camera coverage on city streets, highways, school zones, and high-traffic intersections. What's changed is how little it now takes to trigger a ticket. In many areas, speed cameras used to activate only if you were going 10 or 11 miles per hour over the limit. That buffer is shrinking. Some jurisdictions are lowering the threshold to just 5 or 6 miles per hour over. That means going 41 in a 35 mile per hour zone can now earn you a ticket in the mail weeks later. Red light cameras are also getting stricter. Grace periods that once allowed a fraction of a second after the light turned red are being reduced or eliminated. If any part of your vehicle crosses the stop line after the light changes, even slightly, you could be fined. These fines add up quickly. Red light camera tickets can range from $75 to $500 depending on the state and circumstances. Speed camera fines often start around $50 but can climb to $300 or more for higher speeds. While many of these violations are classified as civil rather than criminal, they still carry consequences. Ignoring them can lead to late fees, collections, registration holds, and in some cases, insurance impacts. The safest strategy is simple but effective. Slow down, watch traffic signals carefully, and don't try to beat yellow lights. Cameras don't get distracted and they don't give warnings. The third change is one of the most serious and potentially life-altering: tougher impaired driving laws. Several states are lowering their legal blood alcohol concentration limits and increasing DUI penalties starting in January 2026. While most states currently operate under a 0.08% BAC limit, the trend is shifting. Utah set the precedent by lowering its limit to 0.05%, and now states like Washington, Oregon, and Hawaii are moving in the same direction or actively implementing similar standards. This matters because 0.05% BAC can be reached much faster than people realize. For many individuals, it can take just 1 or 2 drinks, depending on body weight, metabolism, and how quickly alcohol is consumed. The margin for error is shrinking, and the penalties are getting harsher. First-time DUI offenses in these states can now involve fines starting at $1,000, mandatory education programs, license suspension lasting months, and even jail time. Repeat offenses escalate quickly into felony territory, with massive fines, long-term license loss, and serious incarceration risks. The financial damage doesn't stop at the fine. A DUI can cost $10,000 to $15,000 or more when you factor in legal fees, court costs, higher insurance premiums, ignition interlock devices, and lost income due to restricted driving. Imagine going out for dinner, having 2 drinks over a couple of hours, feeling fine, and then being pulled over for a minor equipment issue. You blow a 0.06% BAC. In one state, that might be legal. In another, you're facing a DUI charge. The safest advice is also the simplest. If you drink at all, don't drive. Use a rideshare, call someone you trust, or stay where you are. The inconvenience is nothing compared to the consequences. The fourth major change focuses on electric vehicles and emissions, and this one varies by state, but affects millions of drivers. As more people switch to electric vehicles, states are adjusting how they fund road maintenance. Because EV drivers don't pay gas taxes, many states are introducing new annual registration fees ranging from $100 to $200. Some states are also experimenting with mileage-based fees that charge drivers based on how far they travel each year. EV ownership may still offer savings, but these new costs are becoming part of the equation. At the same time, gas-powered vehicles are facing tighter emission standards in states like California, Colorado, and New York. Vehicles that fail updated emissions tests may require costly repairs before registration renewal. In certain urban areas, older vehicles may face driving restrictions or congestion fees. For example, a well-maintained older car that previously passed emissions testing could suddenly fail under new standards, forcing repairs that cost hundreds